This program is presented to help you understand the danger that fire can be to you and your family. The information in this production is as accurate as possible, but it is not meant to answer every question or solve every situation that may arise during a home fire. The presentation does not guarantee anything about fire in your home, because in a fire, there are no guarantees.
As I watch the news, I begin to wonder, am I planning properly? Is the plan that I have put together safe enough to protect my family?
You can develop a golf swing that's pure.
Real, not like worldwide famous golf pro, but he, in the Montgomery County, state of Ohio, he was a really good golf pro. And it's like, my aunts, my uncles, they golf.
Oh, wow. Did you see that putt?
I don't understand why you say that's a good putt.
Let me tell you about what a great putt is. I had a great putt this summer in June. We played in our family golf outing, and I was the worst player. I don't play very often at all, once a year.
What's that noise? Is that your cell phone again?
I don't think it's my cell phone. That sounds more like a smoke detector.
Oh, I know what it is.
I better go check that out.
Hi, I'm Rich Palmer. It seems that most Americans think they know what they would do during a fire emergency. The truth is, the average American adult has no concept on just how dangerous fire can be in the home. For the next several moments, concerned fire safety professionals and others are going to provide valuable information. Information that can save your life.
Well, that's not it.
Not space here.
What about the kitchen?
The stove.
Oh, I know what to do. There, that should do it.
I didn't realize it was that easy.
On a Sunday night, we were sitting at home just enjoying the evening, and all of a sudden I heard upstairs in the kitchen the voice come, like, fire, fire, need help, need help. Well, my natural response was I jumped out of my chair and I run upstairs, and I see on the back burner of our stove there is a skillet. And there were some flames coming out around the skillet. And so I knew I had to do something here real quick like, or else we was going to have a problem. So I thought, well, if I could put this skillet lid on the skillet, it would suffocate it out. That was my first thing. Well, as I reached for the lid and tried to put it on, I reached over the fire and it was burning my arm. Well, in another second or two, I decided, well, if I can move the skillet from the back burner to the front, then I can get up over it like this and drop it down on it so maybe I wouldn't get burnt. Well, I just didn't realize it, but when I reached for the handles of the skillet, they were hot, and I reached and grabbed all at one time, and the skillet dropped on the stove and splattered the grease on my chest and on my arm right here. The blow of the grease hitting me was such force, and I was falling down, and Doug was just happened to be right behind me, and he caught me and helped me get down on the ground without hurting myself. So I stood up, and Doug said, go get in the cold shower now. It was a mess, and so I said, get my pants and let's go to the hospital right away. So within probably 5, 7, 8 minutes, we were at Sycamore Hospital, and they look at me and they do some preliminary things, and they said, well, you're going to need some skin grafting, and we don't do that here. So they arranged to have me shipped to Miami Valley Hospital. So we got to Miami Valley Hospital an hour or so later, and Dr. Miller and his nursing staff came in and they looked me over, and at this point I didn't realize how badly I was injured. But when Dr. Miller said, well, you're going to need some skin grafting, but it's not a life-threatening situation. Well, I was in the hospital about a month, and then when I was ready to be released, they said I have to wear this special garment called a Jobst garment. And it's a real tight-fitting garment. They measure every inch or so of your body that's injured, and they make this garment fit so snugly because burns heal from the inside out, and it takes forever, it seems like. And as they're healing, you have to have pressure on the burn so it will heal smooth. So I had to wear this Jobst garment for 23 out of 24 hours a day for a year. I'm just lucky that I came through that.
As we've learned, you may have information that you think is correct, but in an emergency, things do go wrong. Let's visit with a local fire safety educator as they teach children how to plan for an emergency.
What we're going to talk about is escape plans. Have you heard about that before? How many of you have smoke detectors in your house?
Smoke detector is one of the #1 prevention tools. A lot of people do not have smoke detectors, or those that do have them do not make sure that they work.
When the smoke detector rings, we hit the floor no matter where we're at. Get on the floor on all fours. Go out the door. If the door is blocked and I can't get out, where would I go next? Where would I go? A window. When my smoke detector goes off, how much time do you think I have till I need to get out of the house? How much time? Anybody have a guess? How about 2 minutes or less? 2 minutes or less.
Fire situation in the home can produce noxious fumes that are really very toxic to the lungs and the lining of the lungs. In fact, in some of the major fire situations, such as the Beverly Hills fire, where a number of patients died, none of those patients had serious burns. They all died of what we call an inhalation injury, or some people refer to as a smoke injury.
So now you kind of get the idea of why it's so important to have this plan ahead of time, to make sure that you know what to do. You need to go over exactly what we talked about today with your parents.
The real problem is the chemicals that are produced by the fire situation, and these chemicals are quite toxic to the lining of the lungs.
How many exits should you plan to get out of every room? 2, and what would they be? A window and a door. Good.
How's your homework going?
It's going all right.
Show me what you're doing.
The firefighter that came to our school told us that we should have a plan, so I drew out this map of our house. It shows where all the exits are, and I even drew where all the smoke detectors were.
Good job.
Thanks.
Hey, tell me what you know about the meeting place.
The meeting place is somewhere where we should all meet when the smoke detector goes off. That way we know everyone got out safely. We could say the meeting place was the mailbox.
And that's what I learned from my daughter the day she came home with homework after the firefighter had come to her school.
And that's really scary that there's probably a lot of people out there that they don't have any idea what to do when the detector goes off or when there's an incident in their home.
That's why it's good to know exit drills, because then you really don't have to think about it. You just do it.
The fatal fire that I was on eventually took command of. The gentleman was found in the bedroom when we ended up finding him, and he did die of being overcome with smoke. This man, I believe, could have got out safely if he would have known what to do. Not quite sure what he did. I don't think he respected the fact that he did have a fire. Fire travels very fast, and it could overcome a person in a very short amount of time. When we got the 911 call, in fact, I went back and listened to the 911 tape because it bothered me, to be honest with you, that this guy called us and then went to the bedroom from the living room instead of went outside of the structure. He should have known to go outside the structure, but for some reason he did not. He went back into the bedroom. I listened to the tape, and on the tape it said, very calm voice, he called 911 and said, I have a fire in my apartment. And the dispatcher asked him to repeat his name and address. He did that in a very calm voice. And he went through all the questions, he answered them all, and he said, send somebody, I have a fire in my apartment. It's in the corner, it's in the living room. And then he hung up the phone, and they told him someone would be en route, and then he hung up the phone. Then apparently he went into the bedroom instead of out the door, down the stairs, and away from the building.
We all need fire safety, right? You know, you're my somebody else. And we always hear the thing, it always happens to somebody else, right? You're my somebody else. Is it going to happen to you?
The number one thing that the public needs to realize is that it can happen to you.
So when you test your detector once a month to make sure it's still working, make sure it's on the job, you can have your fire drill at that point. We recommend that you test or you change the batteries in them at least twice a year. And that's when the time changes, April and October.
A lot of people just take for granted that this detector, this tool that may save their life, is hanging on the wall and it's going to do its job.
How many of you have hardwired detectors in your house? Do you have a battery backup in your hardwired detector? Ah, so you're going to go home today and check, aren't you? What good is that detector going to do you if the power goes out? None at all. And to understand how you can prevent a fire, let me explain to you how fire works. It's called the fire triangle. The three elements that you got to have to make fire is a heat source, a fuel source, and air. You got to have something that will ignite, you got to have something that will burn, and fire is a living, breathing thing. It's got to have air, just like us.
Well, our concern are primarily two gases. They're hydrogen cyanide and hydrogen sulfide gas. Hydrogen cyanide, some of you may be familiar with, is the gas that's used in the gas chamber. And these are products of the incomplete combustion of the things that we have in our home that are basically petroleum-based products, the nylons that are in the carpeting, the acrylic paints that are on the wall. In a fire situation, they burn and they produce primarily these two gases, which are toxic and actually damage the lining of the lung and can damage it so badly that the patient will never be able to breathe without being on a breathing machine again.
So you get down on your hands and knees, you crawl out, and the reason we do that is we're conditioning ourselves, if there is smoke, to be underneath the smoke. It's real important to remember that you got to have two ways out of every room in your house. The main thing is to practice your escape drill. Get out and stay out. Part of this plan has got to be this. This is very crucial. Don't take things out with you. Don't gather up stuff. You can help me do my job by making sure you do your part by getting your family out, and we take care of your house when we get there.
The important issue in a fire situation, particularly in the home, is to realize that all of these gases are heavier than air. So they're going to be higher than the oxygen. So the oxygen is low, and of course that's why we always teach everybody in a fire situation to stay low, go out low. So people who stand up and walk out, they take about 6 breaths and that's it, they're gone.
911, what's your emergency? Okay, at 5830 Main Street? Okay. Is there anyone in the house right now? Okay, how many people's in the house? Okay. You need to try to evacuate the house as soon as you can, okay? Yes, they will. We'll have them standing by out there for you. As soon as they can, sir, I'll dispatch them right now.
So you're telling me there's classes out there where I can get the safety information?
Yes, all you have to do is give the fire department a call. They'll come to your school, church, civic organization. They're happy to help you.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think I'll call the fire department tomorrow and schedule a class for our group. Whew. I'll tell you what, this made me hungry. What do you think about dessert?
Gosh, I wonder what we do when we go on vacation, you know, about staying in a motel or hotel. I wonder if there's special things we need to think about when we stay someplace away from home.
That's right.
Imagine this. You go on vacation and you go up to the hotel room, put the bags down, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to kind of scan the room to make sure there's some specific things there. Take a look and see if there's a strobe light or a smoke detector. If the hotel room is a sprinkled room or sprinkled building, make sure that it's not clogged or covered. And then when you close the door, take a look at the placard on the back of the door, because that tells you where the exits are and how to get out from your room to the closest exit. You know, once you look at the back of the door and get comfortable with how to get out, then you need to practice it. You go to the hallway And as you're going to the exit, make sure you count the number of doors. That way, if you're crawling and it's dark, you know exactly how close or how far away you are to the exit. Go down the exit, outside, find a safe meeting place, and that could be a tree in the yard or maybe where your car is parked. And make sure you explain to your family that once they get outside of the hotel or motel that they do not go back in for anything. Make sure when you're exiting the building that you do not use elevators. Always use the stairwells.
The producers of this program truly hope that you have gained valuable insight on how to protect your family from fire emergencies in the home. But simply having the information is not enough. Practice what you've learned here today. If you have additional questions, please contact your local fire department. Don't find yourself asking, why did it have to be me? On behalf of the people involved in this production, stay safe and have a good day.
To wonder, am I planning properly?
Fire travels very fast, and it could overcome a person in a very short amount of time.
Safe enough to protect my family.
Smoke detector is one of the #1 prevention tools. A lot of people do not have smoke detectors, or those that do have them do not make sure that they work.
We always teach everybody in a fire situation to stay low, go out low. So people who stand up and walk out, they take about 6 breaths and that's it, they're gone.
When the sad and broken-hearted people.
You know, you're my somebody else. And we always hear the thing, it always happens to somebody else, right? You're my somebody else. Is it going to happen to you?